Hello, welcome to Guide to the Unknown. I'm Kristen.
And I'm her little brother, William.
And this week we are headed over to Wisconsin for some cheesy, dippy, scary stories.
You like a cheese dip?
Yeah.
I prefer my cheese solid. Thank you.
I prefer it solid, actually. But yeah, I'll take a dip.
The closest
Like
I get
fondue?
is brie. Fondue, you win.
Yeah.
I like a fondue. We're going to be
Fondue's
talking about
really
Wisconsin.
Good. There's something else going on in there. Something
Something's
interesting.
happening
Yeah.
here. This topic was suggested by Eric,
That's right.
I believe, just last week.
It was. So I omitted it while we were reading Eric's questions, but he asked if we would do a haunted Wisconsin episode. And ask and you shall receive.
Yep.
That's what
here
we're
we
up to
are.
this week.
It is time.
Yes.
So I pulled a little grab bag. I've got 3 different topics.
Great.
That I think are kind of fun. I've got an urban legend,
Mm-hmm.
I have a cryptid, and I have a UFO encounter or an
Okay.
alien encounter, which is kind of weird. So hopefully, no matter what your enjoyment is in the unknown, the paranormal,
Right.
I think we're going to have something for everybody.
Yep, and I've got ghost stuff.
Wonderful. There's nothing better than ghost stuff, in my opinion. Do you want to start with a ghosty?
Sure. All right. So this is something that you suggested to me.
Right.
And it ended up being awesome. I'm
Oh,
going to
good.
tell you about Brumder Mansion.
Brumder Mansion.
Yep, this is in Milwaukee. Did you find out about it because of the Red Letter Media episode that they recorded in the mansion?
That is correct. That is the only reason why I know about this at all. I really enjoy the channel Red Letter Media on YouTube. And there was one episode they did on Halloween where they all of a sudden transport themselves
Yeah.
to the haunted Brumder Mansion.
Yep. Yeah. So let me tell you a little bit about, who was living in it before they decided to come back and haunt it,
All
probably.
right.
All right, so this place has quite the history. It's lived a lot of lives. It was built by a super successful German immigrant named George Brumder in 1910 for his son. And it's this pretty humongous red brick Victorian number.
Okay.
They
This little
decide-
number.
Yeah. When they were building it, decided to place a ballroom with a separate entrance in the basement, on the basement floor, which was out of step with general convention. Quite strange. What are you thinking?
I don't know. Someone's trying to sneak in some parties.
Doesn't that seem weird? It has its own entrance.
Yes,
And
it's
thus exit.
Very suspicious, I think. You want people to get in and right away party? I don't know.
But it seems like, from what I read, it seems like the Brumder family themselves were pretty just normal.
Okay.
So I don't know. I guess it was just for convenience, or I don't know. Maybe they were secret freaks, but I didn't come across that. But it would become fortuitous for a future owner.
Okay.
So the Brumder family lived there for about 10 years, and then they sold it to Samuel Pick and his family. Now, Samuel and his brother Ed were mobster types who had ties to Al Capone. And at the time, Prohibition was going on, and it was rumored that they were in the illegal booze biz. Samuel owned a place called Club Madrid that was rumored to have ties to the mafia and be an outlet for Capone's alcohol business.
Wow.
So, I mean, what better place could you have than a little party pad in the basement with its own entrance and exit?
It does.
We're making it a speakeasy, baby.
I know. It does feel sort of like, well, nobody needs to know about this part of the house, right?
Yeah.
Like the rest of it can be on the up and up, but secretly
Right.
what the cops don't know is if you go in this particular door, that's where all the booze is.
Yeah, I mean, he was married. He had kids, I believe. So this could be its own separate operation down
Yeah.
there. And so it was. So it was a speakeasy. They say that gambling and sex work was also going down there. And that actually 4 women who were listed as roomers with the pick, rumor, room and board,
Oh, okay,
ROOMERS. They were listed as roomers with the Pick family, were actually live-in sex workers for the speakeasy.
Whoa.
So that they could just go downstairs, when the time was right,
Yeah.
and get to work.
I bet that time was right at night
I bet it was.
when the moon rose. So did they.
Yes. So the Pix family lived and did business there for about 5 years, and then it briefly changed hands a couple of times. And then unlikely buyers moved in 1940. The pastors of Our Savior's Lutheran Church, who needed a place to stay after the church that they worked for needed more space to spread out because it was so popular.
That's pretty different.
They needed more room for services and such, and so it squeezed the pastors out of their on-site homes, and they moved into this crazy mansion.
We heard you offer services at this house. Different kind of services, Padre. Yeah. You ever get into the consecrated wine?
Over the course of its ownership, the mansion, I mean, this church was booming, it seems, because not only were the Padres living there, but then they had like the church offices there, different meeting centers, like daycare, all kinds of stuff.
Oh, wow.
Like the, busiest church ever or something.
With a secret ballroom downstairs?
I know. I don't know what they did with that.
Did that become like the nursery,
I know.
In Wisconsin, it should be like that's where they run secret illegal cheese.
Maybe
right,
they
like
do.
Push a button and a big wheel of cheese rolls out.
You know how, like, can't you not sneak out cheese from other countries and stuff? Like, I feel like I've heard of people going to visit France, or I think Mom had a friend who was Polish and would go home to Poland, I don't know if regularly, but I think this happened, once or twice, and then brought back, like, cheese and, like, cured meat in her suitcase, and there's some sort of problem.
Really?
Yeah.
Wearing a dress made out of pastrami.
Yeah.
This is just my clothing.
Right. This is what I look like.
I'll be flying down to Florida soon, and I'll have a couple pounds of Gouda in my pockets.
All right.
Hoping they won't check.
So maybe the same kind of thing is going down from Wisconsin, is what I'm saying.
Most likely.
I imagine. So, at some point it changed hands again. It became a bed and breakfast.
Okay.
That ran for a while. And then somebody who had visited the bed and breakfast really liked it, I guess kept in touch with the owners and ended up taking over ownership.
Wow.
And I believe that is the same deal today. It remains a bed and breakfast, I think, with those same owners, but it's a haunted one. So you can go to MilwaukeeMansion.com. Great website. It's what you want it to be.
Great.
Old 90s website. It's maybe slightly disappointing because it doesn't reference ghost stuff at all.
Okay.
But as far as like, a weird, somewhat charmingly janky website, it's going to give you what you want if you'd like a little bit of a visual for what we were talking about here. So there seem to be 3 main spirits who are haunting the house, but people say that there are many more, but these are kind of like the stars of the show. The first one is the woman in the gold suite. So one night, Mrs. Hershey, who was the first owner of the mansion as a B&B, was staying in the suite with her dog when she heard a female voice yell at her to get the dog off the bed.
Oh, that's unique.
Yes, this particular haunting is completely dog-centric.
Okay.
Just about. And not in a happy way, unfortunately. She also said that the mirror in the bathroom lifted off its hook and was thrown in the bathtub. Nobody was around, but they found the aftermath. So I guess, like, it wasn't like the mirror, fell off the wall and, the wall is destroyed or whatever. It was like everything was perfectly intact except for the mirror is now in the bathtub.
Yeah, I guess if something like that happens, it feels inexplicable. So if you're forced to try to explain how that happened,
right? Do
you eventually just inevitably land at ghost?
At ghost,
right? Because who would have gingerly picked up the mirror and thrown it in the bathtub?
Right. It's definitely hard to reconcile.
It's hard, yeah.
So I guess you eventually land at ghost.
Okay.
Let's see. Oh, another thing happened this is so weird too. I don't know why this was her first thought, but fine. Maybe there was other stuff going on that made this seem plausible. One time she found fresh blood droplets in the bathtub. I assume the same bathtub in the gold suite. And thought that, like, oh no, there's a corpse upstairs that must be leaking blood down here.
Oh, like through the ceiling or something.
Yeah, but why is that your first thought?
I don't know. Well, it wouldn't just be that somebody, like, cut themselves above the tub and then ran to get a Band-Aid or something?
Apparently not.
Okay.
So she went upstairs to the room above, scared of what she might find, and nothing was there.
Oh. Well,
who knows?
So we've got both in the bathtub, huh?
Yeah.
A mystery broken mirror and mystery blood.
If like only they happen at the same time, they could be connected.
I know, but since they happen separately, is there some sort of a temporal conundrum happening where it's
like somebody,
they were linked.
Yes, but they've split in time for some reason.
Right. So the mirror shards are in the tub, but the blood doesn't show up until sometime later.
Right.
Also, for the mirror, if the ghost is doing it, they say that breaking a mirror causes 7 years of bad luck.
Yeah.
What if the ghost periodically is like, 7 years are almost up. I better smash a mirror real quick.
Because they love bad luck?
And ensure that the residents of this home are their lives are full of misfortune.
But the person who smashes the mirror has the bad luck. So
But the
it would
ghost
give the
is
ghost
already
the bad
dead.
luck. But it still wouldn't give the person bad luck.
But maybe the ghost thinks that they are stuck on this earthly plane through bad luck. And so they're like, well, I've been a ghost for about 7 years. I don't want to leave and go to heaven or hell. So maybe if I smash this mirror, my bad luck being stuck on earth will continue.
Oh.
Secretly, I enjoy it.
Oh, okay. So it's not okay. So the ghost wants to give itself bad luck now.
Well, now I'm saying that. Yeah. When I said the first thing, it didn't make any sense. So I had to come up with something.
Of course, you had to pivot.
I had no choice, Kristen. I had no choice.
You did so beautifully.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So guests have experienced a stern woman in their dreams while staying in this room. And if they have a dog with them, this woman in their dream admonishes them for bringing the dog and tells them to get it out of the room, threatening to hurt the dog if they don't comply.
That is frightening.
That's horrible.
That is, yeah.
Yeah.
In some ways, and in the dream, right? Like, in some ways, obviously, you think of like a Freddy Krueger or something where like you dreamt of that guy. We're having dreams about the same person.
I did too.
But Freddy Krueger wants to kill you, which I can wrap my head around.
Yeah.
Him being like, I hate your dog.
Uh-huh.
That somehow feels like another level of specificity where you'd be like, not only did we dream about the same person, but she hates our dogs.
Well,
I would really be in fear for the dog's sake. What is the dog dreaming about?
Oh my God.
Hopefully
I didn't even think about that.
a yummy, chewy steak.
I hope so. Well, I was thinking that it was really just sort of, she's obviously this lady doesn't like dogs.
No.
Get
the dog off the bed.
That seems not to be in question. But is saying that you're going to hurt the dog just incentivizing the person who has the agency in the situation to get themselves and the dog out of there. Not unlike when there's, like a bad guy in a crime thing. And they're like, I'd hate for you not to deliver the money that you promised me. Your dear old mother seems like she's alone a lot, and, well, it'd be terrible if something happened to her.
Right. Is it leverage? Except that get the dog off the bed. Like, it makes me think about, like, the Wicked Witch, the human version of her.
Yeah.
In Kansas, whatever her name was. Mrs. Grimsby, probably. Something like that.
Oh, Auntie M.
No, that's the nice lady.
Oh, you're right. What is her name? It doesn't matter.
How come Auntie...
I was very scared of her.
She was very scary.
I wasn't scared of her in witch form, I don't think. I was scared of her, like, in the real world.
Because she hated that dog.
Yeah.
She very famously went on Mr. Rogers.
Right.
Or Sesame Street, one or the other, and showed how she got into her costume so that kids wouldn't be afraid of her anymore. Catherine Hamilton, I want to say. Something like that.
Something like that.
Anyway, Mrs. Grimsby, her character.
Yeah.
I know she has a name. She
find out.
hated dogs so much. Like, I think Toto just, like, barked at a chicken or something. I don't know. But her answer was
I think you're right.
I'll bring him into town. He'll be destroyed.
Oh, God. I know. When people talk about destroying dogs.
I'm going to destroy your dog.
I don't like that.
Miss
Gulch.
Mrs. Gulch.
Yeah.
Pretty close to Grimsby.
Not terrible.
But, like,
and it was Margaret Hamilton.
Really?
Yeah.
I think I might have said Catherine or something.
You did, but you got Hamilton.
That was pretty close.
Yeah.
So, there was this old world notion of, and still exists to some extent, of like pets as being lesser.
Yeah.
Right? Like, ew, you let your dog sleep in bed with you?
Oh, totally.
Meanwhile, for a lot of people, it's super commonplace to be very, very close to your dog. Yeah. But so maybe this ghost is this old world sort of like, this is not a place for that filthy, mongrel. Like, let him sleep outside, whatever. You know what you do? You tie a rope to him and
tie that to a tree.
The fence tie it to a tree, whatever.
Yeah.
It does feel very like, I'm offended that you'd bring this dog into a refined space for humans.
Yeah, a true fuddy-duddy.
Which is an interesting thing for a ghost to do, because to me it's almost scarier than like wanting to scare a human, is to target the dog who cannot comprehend and cannot fight back.
Well, I can only hope that she's not targeting the dog's dreams.
Yeah.
And that, as you said, the dog is dreaming of a juicy, yummy steak.
I certainly hope so.
So a psychic stayed in the room once to try to figure out what's going on here, because lots of investigators come through this place. And she said that she made contact with the ghost of the spirit who introduced herself as Aunt Pussy, but said her real name was Susan, and told her that she didn't like the new decor in the room and, shocker, didn't like dogs. Here's my question for you.
Yeah.
Aunt Pussy, Pussy Cat.
I know.
Is this a case of classic enemies?
It's very anti-canine.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sensing a lot of, I don't know, like a speciesist, let's just say it, racism against dogs.
Finally, someone has said it.
Sort of attitude here.
Yeah.
I'm not afraid to say it.
Yeah. It's not good.
I don't like it.
Now, since that psychic stayed in the room, they decided to not let dogs stay in the room anymore, and the activity has since calmed down.
Wait a minute. That's the solution?
Yeah. How you can't say Aunt Pussy's not allowed to stay in the room anymore. You can say...
Why not?
Wait, what are you going to do?
Aunt Pussy, time to go to the other side.
Well, theoretically, but...
I need an old priest and a young priest. Let's get her out of here. I'm sorry, but you haven't been paying rent for quite some time, AP. Gotta go.
Yeah.
Aunt Poopy.
No, I guess that's true. I
Hit it.
Aunt Poopy. I guess I had taken it as a foregone conclusion that you can't eliminate her.
Smudge
but-
stick. Bring in a million dogs. Bring in a pack of dogs until she's like, well, I've had enough.
Right.
And then
That's
whisks
what you
away
hope?
to heaven. Finally goes toward the light.
Do you risk this dog's safety? These dogs' safety? No, you don't.
No, they're fine. You bring them.
You can't monitor whether Aunt Poopy is in the room or not.
You give those dogs hamburgers, cheeseburgers, hell, a hot dog or two.
Actually, you know what would get her out of the room? Better than an exorcism or anything. Letting those dogs run wild over the room.
That's what I'm saying.
If they destroyed the decor, they're taking pee-pees.
Well, this place truly has gone to the dogs.
Right, and then she's out.
She's out.
Yeah, you're right. They did the wrong thing. The opposite of what they should have done.
No one ever tried giving Reagan a puppy in The Exorcist.
When you said Reagan, I thought you were talking about Ronald Reagan.
Of course he had a puppy.
Briefly. And I was like, what? Why was this something?
Why, hell,
Yeah.
Ronald Reagan didn't need a puppy. He had a monkey.
And jelly beans.
Bonzo.
That's all a feller needs.
That's all he needs.
Yeah.
Give me my monkey and some beans, and I'm a happy guy.
Oh, God. Okay. Here's another ghost.
Yeah.
This is George Brumder Jr.,
Oh,
the guy
wow.
who the house was built for.
Okay.
Quickie ghost. There's a place called George's Suite in the house, and people have felt breezes go by, and they've noticed objects go missing only to be put back in their spot when they definitely weren't there.
Oh.
Yeah,
classic ghost stuff.
Yeah, totally. Both guests and investigators have seen shadows in the room, and a paranormal team member also felt cold out of nowhere, plus heard inexplicable humming. Another investigator once had a strong headache out of nowhere while they were in the room. Could it be George making his presence known deliberately? Or could these be side effects from George trying to gather up steam to do something and make his presence known?
Almost like he's scooting his feet on the
Hard to
carpet to
say.
generate static electricity or something.
Yeah, maybe.
I mean, maybe. I
Or
have a
'cause,
headache
they
right
say
now.
Maybe George Brumder is near.
Maybe he's
Do
been
you-
near me for a while.
Do you want some loose Advil from my purse?
No.
Oh.
Has anybody considered, you said like somebody got cold all of a sudden.
Mm-hmm.
Has anyone considered that the wind itself could just be a bunch of ghosts?
That's a great question.
What is a breeze? It's
Yeah,
air currents in motion, right?
But why?
But why?
And for what purpose?
There's no answer to those kinds of questions, surely.
That's because nobody's asking them. Except for us.
Except for us.
Yeah.
I feel cold suddenly. Or, well, there's definitely a ghost near you then.
Right, because it's wind. and
Everybody.
Wind is ghost.
Hide! It's January! That means that there are ghosts everywhere.
That's also hard to imagine an extremely drafty old house.
Absolutely. Got a headache? Couldn't
Yeah.
possibly
Yeah.
just be, you're dehydrated or any number of
Right.
things. No.
Ghost.
Ghost.
No. Almost certainly.
There's no getting away from this.
And the inexplicable humming? What of that?
See, that's more interesting to me.
Yeah.
So wait, say that
That's
again.
really it. That somebody heard humming that seemed to be coming from nowhere.
Yeah,
I think they said it was on the other side of a door, if I remember correctly.
Did they open it?
I don't know.
Might have just been some guy in there.
See, easy as pie.
I think I just debunked that last one.
Right. I didn't write that. I believe what I read said it was on the other side of a door.
I
Could
heard-
it be that stupid?
I heard humming through this closed door.
Hold on a second.
All right, I'm going home now. Bye-bye.
Maybe I'm wrong. That's so dumb.
God, there has to be more to it.
Hold on.
There needs to be.
I don't know. They like really breezed through what happened. I'm just gonna scroll down to that part and see what they said about the humming.
Well, I heard footsteps from upstairs. Did you ever check? No. What if there was just a person upstairs?
No, okay, I'm right. During investigation in the room, one paranormal research team felt inexplicably cold and heard footsteps and humming from outside of the door.
That's it.
Footsteps and humming from outside the door.
Outside the door, yeah. Just
could be a person outside the door. And then it's not followed up by, they opened the door and nobody was there.
Who's that lady? Who's that lady?
What's that song that I keep singing to you? Oh. On the country. Yeah, maybe they were doing that.
Going in the country.
Such a funny voice. To become like a huge song in Chevy commercials.
I think I got something for this tune. Here, I got something good, you guys. Oh,
so funny.
It's so not forceful.
No. Oh, how gentle.
It's almost like
That
you have
seems
no
like
energy.
It'll be perfect to push extremely brawny trucks.
Yeah.
Okay, so the last ghost that has been encountered in this place is that of a young child. On the 3rd floor, there is a kid's presence who's been felt, and they've heard an EVP with a voice saying, "Please don't leave, help me." And they're not sure, what gender it is. It's just kind of like a high voice. Guests have also experienced what felt like a child jumping on the bed, or just experiencing, again, elaboration could maybe be needed, but just kind of experiencing a playful vibe to a presence in the room. I don't think they said vibe. I think they said they've experienced a playful presence.
Well, on the 3rd floor, I went into this room and I felt as merry as a schoolboy. I don't know what to make of those things.
I don't either.
They're worth noting, and we have to talk
Sure.
about the way that people talk about ghosts.
I don't feel those things, so I can't pick up on a playful vibe in an empty room. You know what I mean?
I'll tell you. So Zoe likes it when I do voices right now.
Yeah.
She keeps it's adorable. It's also hard sometimes. I just have to be like, Cookie Monster's tired right now. She came up with one. All of her. I don't know where she got this. She went, "I want the boy to talk."
Oh, who's that?
I went, "Who's the boy?" And then she goes, "Dada boy." So I don't know if she means young me or something. But I started just going like,
Dude, going down the country voice?
Going down the country. Because there's so many characters. I'm Dory.
Yeah.
I'm Baby Dory. I'm Nemo's Dada.
Of course.
Cookie Monster, Elmo, Zoe Monster, Abby Kadabi. I'm everything.
Yeah.
So Dada boy.
You're the alpha and the omega.
I am all. The beginning and the end. I decided to just be like a rambunctious young boy from some day gone by, I'm not sure. But so I'll always be like, "Oh, wow, we're going to have a great day, aren't we? Oh, my goodness. I can't wait to get on the street and maybe play some stickball. It's getting a little cold. I might have to wrap my feet in newspaper." It's like, some
So
boyish energy from maybe the turn of the century. I'm not sure.
Right. And who doesn't have access to a lot of resources?
No, not at all. He's quite poor. But he is happy to brag.
Why?
I found a nickel. I'm going to go down to the movie house and spend a fortnight. And Zoe eats it. She loves it. It's hard to tell if she's even paying. She just likes it when I talk to her in character.
Yeah.
So she's just having fun.
Oh, my God.
But these are the things that I do for me when I have to talk like Dada boy.
Right. And that's Dada boy.
That's Dada boy.
Okay.
So it's become just boy. Sometimes it's still Dada boy. And sometimes it's boy Dada. But that is how I feel a boyish energy. Like that's the ghost in the Brumder mansion.
Right.
Although you said that it was like heard being like, "Help, don't leave. I need help."
Yes.
If that were verifiable, go with me down a hypothetical for a brief moment. A voice says, "Don't go away, help me." And somebody is able to not only capture that sound, but like confirm it. To the point that like people keep coming over to visit and they're like, "It's right here. There's a boy." And he says things like, "Don't leave, please help."
Yeah.
What can we possibly do to help?
I know.
We can't. So like at a certain point, this would get so out of hand that like news stations have come by and reported on it and confirmed it. And you can hear it. And it's the first ever case of us making verified contact with someone who's not there.
I would love this to happen.
An intelligent consciousness who can be like, "I'm not joking. It's not a
God,
lie.
I'm stuck
I need
here.
your help and I'm stuck here."
Ugh.
And they've dug open the walls. They've looked for speakers.
Take it back.
There's nothing.
Yeah.
At some point, humanity would almost have to stop trying to solve it and shrug.
We would have to evolve to just little by little over time make it be like, oh, they're playful.
Right, and just
for
move
us
on.
to be able to live with ourselves.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Just to have a normal day for once.
Right. Right.
The world
Not
would
knowing that there's an entity trapped somewhere, confirmed, that we can't reach.
Beyond our help. Truly
Seems
beyond
like that's
our
what
help.
Ant-Man is trying to do, I gather, from the trailer.
I think that's correct. Well,
Yeah.
we'll find out when Ant-Man Quantumania comes out this April.
That's right. Yeah.
How awesome it would be if we were sponsored by Marvel.
It'd be great.
If we had to do commercials. What if they were like, we want to buy a block of episodes for you to sponsor us,
Yeah.
but we're not giving you the rights to any of the audio from the movie.
So we have to act
You
it
have
out.
to do the trailer.
I mean, that's perfect for you, Dad, with all your voices.
I could do this all day. Way to go, Ant-Man. Looks like you're going to get squashed.
And I just have to
Coming
talk
this
like
fall.
Evangeline Lilly,
Yeah.
which is just a normal voice.
I don't believe in vaccines.
Oh, yes. God, that's right.
Ant-Man.
Yeah. I was reading, I can't remember who was, there was somebody else who was like almost cast as that character, and they were like, this would be a different movie.
Really?
Yeah. Doesn't matter. Anyway, so yeah, a playful ghost who's stuck in the beyond. And they have done things. This was very similar to the mirror problem.
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't know, maybe there's just like a house settling issue going on that's making things fall without it being like a huge, like bombastic deal that's like ripping hooks from the wall or whatever.
Yeah.
Because similarly, a marriage certificate that was hanging in a room fell from a wall, and the frame and hook holding it were intact, but the glass was shattered.
Wait,
So-
did the paper fall?
No, it was a framed marriage certificate.
But only the glass fell out?
No, it all fell down to the ground.
Oh.
The frame and the hook were intact. It wasn't like it was ripped
intact.
from
I
the
interpreted
wall.
as if they were still on the wall somehow. Okay.
No. But the glass was all shattered, so they found that significant.
That
I was
feels
like,
insignificant.
I agree. Like, it just the mirror is at least I assume the mirror was far away enough from the bathtub that you could be like, it must have been thrown, not just like above the bathtub.
No one hangs a mirror above their bathtub. If they do, then there's
You know
something else haunting this house.
No, you know what? Good on them.
I don't know.
Good on them.
I'm sorry, you don't need a mirror in the bathtub.
Just stick.
Maybe somebody else who lives with that person smashed it.
Yeah, maybe.
Just to get rid of it once and for all.
Yeah, you wouldn't know peace knowing that your, roommate or whatever just like gazing at themselves in the bathtub.
I want to see what I'm scrubbing. I don't like it.
Oh God.
Yeah, if a thing falls off the wall that's got glass in it, the glass shatters, but the wood might not.
Right.
It's fine.
Right. Actually, I lucked out because my mirror fell down yesterday, but nothing shattered.
Oh, that is.
What does
lucky.
that mean?
Nothing.
So this ghost also seems to pull pranks, like people being locked out of the mansion, or again, a little contextless, the doorbell not playing the tune that it's set to.
What?
I don't know. Obviously, this is a doorbell that you can change the song to, but it won't play the right song.
Owner of a broken heart.
What a good song to play to your ass. So nobody seems to think that these ghosts are dangerous, although I personally have concerns about Aunt Poopy.
Yeah, of course.
And they feel they just add color to an already historic building.
Interesting.
So that's great. I have a couple of reviews that I thought were fun from
Absolutely.
TripAdvisor. This one is from Steamy R.
Oh no. Steamy Ronald? Like, who's this? What's the
That's
R
who's
for?
looking at themselves in the bathroom mirror, in the bathtub mirror.
1 star. The mirror in the bathroom broke.
Is broken. They say, I wasn't aware that this is a known haunted home. In the middle of the night, I felt someone tickling my neck. I jumped awake and chills shot through me. My husband was sound asleep. In the morning, I Googled haunted houses in Milwaukee and saw a TV interview with the owners. I didn't feel any dark energy, but I did feel a presence.
Oh.
Yeah,
I don't like that. Tickled on the neck.
I know.
What did they Google?
Haunted houses in Milwaukee.
I would have Googled tickle in the night. And I bet you would find a book.
I bet you're right.
Some sort of romance novel. The
Maybe
Night
that's
Tickle.
another one of the songs that the doorbell is supposed to play, but the
Night
ghost keeps messing with it.
tickle.
Night tickles,
Yeah.
tickle in the night. So this one, it's mainly that I like the response that the owners wrote back to this guy. But
Right.
this is what Charles R. wrote first. What we didn't... Oh, so I cut out some stuff about, like, what they, what they had fun with at the hotel or whatever. Then he says, what we did not get in the deal was any ghosts. The Brumder Mansion promotes itself as being haunted, but the only spirits were the complimentary wine in the foyer.
Boy.
The complimentary cookies were also stellar. We plan to return at some point. Then the response from Bunker Monkey 60, owner at the Brumder Mansion Bed and Breakfast.
I'm sorry, why isn't the account just called Brumder Mansion?
I don't know.
Bunker Monkey 60?
Yes.
Are they texting from a hidden bunker somewhere?
I don't know.
Under the house?
Change your name, dude. And they reply to like every single...
Very unprofessional.
They reply to like every single review as Bunker Monkey 60.
There's not a lot to do in the bunker.
Wouldn't think... Yeah, I guess they have time. They said, we are glad that you enjoyed your stay in Brumder Mansion and appreciate its antiques, charm, and amenities. We are sorry that you were disappointed in the lack of spirit activity. We don't advertise this as a certainty on our website that you will experience anything, as the only people on our payroll are the living staff. Any unseen staff and visitors that may be around visiting all have good Midwestern manners and don't bother our guests, as they know we need to share our mansion with guests who need a restful, peaceful time away from life. Spirits may come and go as they please, and there is no ghost that is stuck and unhappy in Brumder Mansion. There is peace in the mansion, and any unseen spirits that may be visiting may be here to remember their happy memories. Looking forward to your next visit.
I like that.
That was cute.
It's very playful. It's in keeping with,
Yeah.
It keeps some of the mystique a little bit alive, defangs it a little bit.
Yeah, and it's true. Like I said, their website doesn't say anything about the haunted stuff, like, at all. So they don't really put like a huge emphasis on it.
Yeah.
And that was kind of a constant in their responses back to people about this sort of stuff. They were like, there are no ghosts that are stuck here and unhappy. Everybody just kind of comes and goes. And I just thought it was kind of like cute.
That is cute. That's nice.
Yeah.
I like that. Well done, Bunker Monkey.
Yeah, Bunker Monkey 60.
You did it.
I know. It's so funny.
All right. Well, I want to talk to you about some other Wisconsin. You can sort of pick your poison.
Yeah.
Because I've got a cryptid, a UFO, and an urban legend.
Okay, great.
But before we do that, we just want to remind everybody that if you're enjoying the show, consider subscribing.
Yeah.
Whether you're watching on youtube.com/GTTUpod or Apple Podcasts, Spotify, any number of podcast apps. Consider subscribing. Stick around. Leave a review if you can, if that's your sort of thing. And if you need more, you can definitely support Guide to the Unknown on our Patreon page. That's patreon.com/GTTUpod. There are several different tiers for whatever works best for you.
Yep.
Most of them get you access to a bunch of bonus shows. We have an entire second podcast that's only on Patreon, the Netherworld Dispatch. There are 91 episodes as of this recording. So if you join the highest tier, you're getting all of those shows plus new episodes every Monday. Lower tiers, just about all of them end up getting a bunch of episodes as well.
Yeah, absolutely. There's really just one tier that doesn't get access to the Netherworld Dispatch, and that's our $1 tier that you can use if you would like to join our Discord community, which is a bustlin'.
Absolutely, or just lend your support how you can. We really appreciate it. Our most recent episode of the Netherworld Dispatch, Kristen and I played a video game, The Last of Us, which just recently became an HBO show.
Humongous.
Yeah, I haven't watched it yet.
Yeah.
Did you watch it?
No.
No? I still want to, but we played the original video game, showed off some of what the plot was like, the monsters were like, a couple of different scenarios, and then jumped to the end and talked about the whole thing. It's super fun.
Yeah, so it kind of encapsulates the whole plot of that game and even its sequel.
Absolutely.
Yep.
So get that and so much more on patreon.com/GTTUpod.
Yeah.
Follow at GTTUpod on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. I've had a couple of TikToks.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, also, you should have seen in your feed that we released a little bonus thing about the movie Smile.
Yes.
Which is just a bizarre scene in a fun little horror movie that I couldn't wrap my head around. We had a nice little chat about it.
So weird.
It's like the worst birthday party a kid could ever have.
Seems like it.
When a kid asks for like what they want for their birthday, they should just point to the movie and say, not that.
Right. The opposite of this.
Yes. All right, so let's get back into Wisconsin stuff.
Let's do it.
What do you want? Do you want a cryptid? Do you want an urban legend? Or do you want a UFO encounter?
Urban legend, please.
Urban legend. So that means that I'm going to tell you the story of Boy Scout Lane.
Oh my God. Okay, great. I covered Boy Scout Lane and ran out of time for it, obviously.
Oh.
Great.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Oh, I guess that makes... I was thinking about it as some like a thing that people tell each other more so than a haunting.
Yeah.
I guess you're right.
You're right.
I would have been stepping on your toes with this
It's totally fine. No, you're right, because it's not real. So,
yeah, fair enough. All right, so then maybe there is going to be some... Maybe I won't cover stuff that you will have or something. Who knows?
No. I'm done. So you tell me all about it.
Oh, okay, great. So it's a fairly straightforward read into it, small urban legend, but still I enjoyed it because it's sort of a classic.
Yeah.
Boy Scout Lane it's a road, and it's in the middle of nowhere. So all the pictures that I saw, it's like a one straight shot road with forest on either side, you know? And the story goes that Boy Scout Lane is where Boy Scouts died.
Yeah.
It's not the actual name of the road, but a bunch of Boy Scouts died here. How? That's where the urban legend factor really kicks into overdrive.
Right.
It depends on the telling. In some tellings, they were murdered as they slept, one by their bus driver, who had gone bonkos.
Right.
They got lost in the woods out there on Boy Scout Lane and just died out in nature. They were killed by an animal, very similar to getting lost in nature. They were killed by an animal. Quote, and this is from onlyinyourstate.com, one scout dropped a kerosene lantern, causing a fire. And then I really liked this. This is a little bit longer. People who have dared to go down this dead-end road have reported seeing lights in trees, which they think are lanterns of someone looking for the boys. So it's not just the ghosts of Boy Scouts themselves, but also the search party that eventually went out for them.
Oh, cool.
As some sort of a residual haunting, still searching for these lost kids.
Oh, that's cool. I hadn't heard that.
Many people have reported the feeling of being watched. Others have reported children's handprints on their vehicles. And other people have heard children laughing, which to me very much stood out. Again, a lot of this is sort of like classic haunting type material. Kids' handprints, kids laughing.
Yeah.
But it did also stand out to me as very Blair Witchy specifically. The Blair Witch has like a very visual motif thing of like charred little kid handprints on stuff. And at one point in the original movie, they hear kids laughing just outside their tent at night. I also, Only in Your State had also linked to a YouTube video posted by Metal Chic 5.
Nice.
Which has a bunch of views, but Metal Chic doesn't have many subscribers. And the video is just scrolling text.
Oh, okay.
No audio.
Okay.
Which I liked as almost like an old throwback, or somebody's just like, I must tell this story.
Right.
Should I post
but in what medium?
Yeah. Do I, for text, what would I do? Post a blog? Or make a video out of letters and upload it to YouTube? And
Likely that.
They chose that. So here's part of what it says. 2 Boy Scouts escaped the fate of the rest of the troop and set out to find help, only to become lost in the woods where they died of starvation. The ghosts of the Boy Scouts now haunt the forest where they died. They can be heard hiking through the undergrowth. The lights of their lanterns have been seen at night as they try to find help or search for their fellow scouts. So I've got a couple of comments here that I really enjoyed. Orange Crush 1828 had this to say. These are all like very personal recollections. 12 years ago.
Yeah.
Long time ago. So last night, a couple of my hockey teammates and I went to Boy Scout Lane. It was one of the scariest things I have ever experienced. We saw footprints that randomly started. And how do you... This is one of those things where it's like in a movie or something, you can imagine like, footprints, how did they get here?
Yeah.
But it's like, this is a road. I know Wisconsin snows a lot. Maybe it's that, how you can see footprints. Like, if somebody was walking in my basement, it's not like you would see footprints.
Yeah. Well, they're outside, though.
I guess.
That's footprint territory.
I guess, but I just think of a road as being paved. You don't see a footprint appear on pavement.
No, I don't think... I don't know. I imagine they were talking about, like, you know, a wooded area or, like, a muddy area or something. I don't think they're on, like, a road.
All right, maybe. And behind the footprints looked like this person had been dragging something. Also, my friend heard a breathing noise in his ear and saw a light in the woods of what he thought was the Boy Scouts' lantern. they got a lot.
Yeah.
Footsteps, somebody dragging something, breathing in an ear, and a lamp. Like, they got...
That's a lot of activity.
They got the works.
They got bingo.
You order like a pizza with all the toppings. They got everything.
Yeah.
Shadow Foxization said, the scariest thing is that I live 35 minutes from the place.
Don't tell me that.
I
Foxization.
got to chill up my spine when I found out that Shadow Foxization lives 35 minutes away, safely away.
Yeah.
From just trying to like implicate, I'm part of the story too.
Yeah.
I live a good half hour away.
That's really funny.
It'll take a while to get there.
Yeah.
All right, Bob the Pink Monkey. Have you ever been there? I know people that have. I only live about 10 minutes away, but I can't seem to find anyone to go with me. My friends that have gone there refuse to go back.
Oh.
Now that's kind of fun. I like that because there's like...
And Bob's too scared to go by himself.
He's too scared to go by himself. And we don't get like some ridiculous backstory of like my friends who have gone all definitely saw a demon.
Yeah, right.
He's just like, they won't go with. So it leaves a little room to wonder,
Yeah.
like maybe something is going on there.
Right.
And they experienced it, and that's kind of fun.
Yeah.
I always like the boots on the ground quality of these stories.
Oh, absolutely.
All right, you've got 2 others left.
Wait, I have something to add about.
Oh, good. Okay.
Boy Scout Lane, real quick. I have a little bit of context for the legend from hauntedplaces.org.
Oh, okay. That was my source.
Ah, very good.
What did I overlook?
Okay. Alex commented, a tall tale that never gets old, but there's no facts to back it up. It's true that the Boy Scouts of America once owned the land around the road, thus the name, but the proposed camp was never built and no Boy Scouts were present during that time, let alone killed in the area. It is a spooky enough road, especially with its close proximity to the Wisconsin River, kicking up a good deal of fog and mist when the weather is right. But if you're looking for ghosts, you'll need to look elsewhere.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
That was a comment on the article?
It was on hauntedplaces.org.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
So not an article, the thing where you like put in a location and then.
Oh. I was thinking only. Okay, yeah. Hauntedplaces.org.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
That's huge, quite frankly.
Absolutely.
So it is called Boy Scout Lane outside of a Boy Scout urban legend about death. That's interesting.
Yeah.
The Boy Scouts own the land?
I guess so, or at least they did at one point.
All right, so I've got a miniature. I'm no more picking. You don't get to decide anymore.
Hey.
You don't get to tell me what to do.
Hey.
I'm going to tell you about the Antigo alien.
Okay.
Because it's small, and then we'll finish the episode with my other story, which I think with the cryptid, which is a little more fun and ridiculous.
Nice.
This is a miniature story that I needed to pick.
Uh-huh.
1, I wanted to have a UFO.
Yeah.
2, the summary of this that I read was so stupid. I was so excited, but it does appear to be, you have to search for this. This is also good because no one's talking about this, and the more I searched for it, the less I found.
Ah.
The Antigo alien. This evidently happened November 17th, 1974. My source for this is www.w-files.com. W files.
The W files.
Like
So that's
X-Files.
your website?
Do you get it?
Yeah.
Willie's files. It's in my files.
Yeah.
The website itself is so busted looking. It is like beyond the 90s kind of websites that you and I really appreciate. That sort of like retro vibe. It looks so old. It is. I genuinely think that we could and maybe should eventually just do like a Netherworld Dispatch where we go to it and poke around. It's that old looking.
Sure.
So here's the story from them. For several days prior to this encounter, there were multiple reports on UFO sightings in Antigo. On Saturday night, the 16th, Mrs. H, no full name, proprietor of a local bar and restaurant, had seen with her family a maneuvering light in the sky. Next afternoon, while on duty in the bar, Mrs. H saw a little man of strange appearance, 4.5 feet tall. He entered the bar with a sort of bouncing gait. He motioned to her to come closer and addressed her in rapid English, saying, "You saw a bright light on Friday night." She corrected him, saying it was Saturday, but he repeated his assertion 4 times. "You saw a bright light on Friday night. You saw a bright light on Friday night."
Dan Aykroyd-esque.
Very Dan Aykroyd-esque, of course. He was smiling throughout this rapid-fire discourse, showing, quote, a mouthful of white teeth. His eye level was no higher than the top of the bar, and he wore dark glasses with inch-wide frames, had a dark complexion, and shiny black hair. His jacket was loosely woven.
Wait, inch-wide frames meaning like thick Coke bottle frames or like teeny little glasses? Just covering... The iris of each eye.
Each lens was no more than an inch wide. Super tiny glasses.
Yeah.
His jacket was loosely woven, quote, like burlap.
Okay.
It's not a material you usually wear.
No.
He continued his monologue and said a meteor was supposed to have landed nearby, adding something unclear to Mrs. H about Medford. He repeated the name several times. There is a town named Medford, 100 miles west of Antigo. He spoke so fast that Mrs. H was unable to follow what he said. On perceiving this, he threw his arms into the air and exclaimed, "And the whole world lit up!" Wheeled about and stormed out the door. By the time Mrs. H had recovered from her surprise, the stranger had disappeared. She and several patrons in the bar did not hear any car drive away.
Weird.
So just like, this could just be an odd little encounter with someone.
An odd little guy.
An odd little guy. Well, being 4.5 feet tall.
I completely forgot that they were 4.5 feet tall.
Yeah,
right.
Being 4.5 feet tall is not some sort of like evidence that somebody is an alien.
No.
I think it should go without saying, but I think it's worth mentioning in connection with this.
Right, that they could have been like, oh, he's so different.
I already knew something was odd about him. He's just 4.5 feet tall.
Right.
He's just not of average height.
But
Whatever.
going up to somebody and saying, you saw a bright light in the sky, you saw a bright light in the sky, you saw a bright light in the sky.
He came in to gaslight her.
That's
and seeing
weird.
that it wasn't working, got frustrated, and then used some alien phrase, and the whole world lit up. Is that like, this place is going to the cats and dogs?
Yeah,
is that
right.
like some, on like his planet, that's what they say?
That's normal.
Oh, the whole
That's
world
them
lit up.
being like, oh my God.
I'm sick of this.
Yeah.
The whole world lit up. I'm done with you. Like, I don't know.
Or, I mean, I thought it was that the lights were so bright that the whole lit up. You saw bright lights in the sky. You saw bright lights in the sky, and the whole world lit up.
The whole world lit up. Really trying to like,
like
send it
really
home.
putting a finer point on it.
You're right. That's kind of fun. That's interesting.
I don't know.
But that's it. That's the whole thing. The original place that I had seen
find that
this.
delightful.
I know. It's like one of those stories that's just like so miniature that
and strange.
it's almost not worth mentioning, except that it's kind of cool.
Yeah.
So the original article that I had found this on.
Is this called the Antigua something?
The Antigua Alien.
Yeah.
Antigo Alien. They just described it. They were like, Mrs. H had a weird encounter with a little man, and poof, he disappeared. It was like so perfunctory.
You're like, so what does that mean?
Yeah, what are you talking about? And then when you search Antigo Alien, you get almost nothing.
Huh.
Which I think is
I really like that story.
arguably crazier.
It's strange.
Um,
Maybe Mrs. H squashed it.
Maybe, yeah, she
Didn't want her name out there like that.
had the story buried. All right, so then that leaves us with my final thing to tell you about the
Fabulous.
HODAG.
Ooh.
Have you ever heard of the HODAG?
I don't know. The name sounds kind of familiar, but that doesn't necessarily mean anything.
It's a cryptid.
It's a Gundus.
Technically a cryptid.
Yeah.
Right? It's an animal that is, I guess, magical in some way. But,
Okay.
But does it exist or does it not? I shall tell you the tale. And by the end, you will definitively know.
Oh, great. That's the best kind of tale.
I have too much information. I didn't have enough information about the Antigua alien to know jack squat. I know everything about the HODAG.
That's all right.
So this is evidently a cryptid specific to Rhinelander, Wisconsin. They have really staked their claim as the home of the HODAG.
Yeah.
The high school uses the HODAG as its mascot.
Oh, fun.
They have like a festival. They are HODAG central.
These are HODAG people.
The HODAG place is all about the HODAG.
Nice.
So it was evidently first mentioned as early as 1870, according to wisconsinhistory.org. As always, we'll have all of our sources in the show notes on gttupod.com. Somebody was using the HODAG as a hoax. You're not going to believe this. Somewhere in the 1870s, somebody was talking about how there was some sort of a magical beast thing up in the northern woods and tried to charge people to see it.
Oh, boy.
That's ridiculous. Don't like that. Finally, let's get to the real story of the real HODAG.
Oh.
All right? Because in 1893, about 20 years after somebody tried to create a hoax around the HODAG, somebody found the real deal. This comes to us now from hodagpress.com. Eugene Shepard stood face to face with a 185-pound, 7-foot-long lizard-like beast. Its head was disproportionately large for its body, with 2 horns growing from its temples, large fangs, and green eyes. Covered with short black fur, the body appeared stout and muscular. Its back was covered with spikes, which led to a powerful tail. The 4 legs were short and sturdy, with 3 claws facing forward and 1 pointing in the opposite direction. As the beast turned to greet his uninvited guests, again, this is Eugene Shepard,
Yes.
who evidently had a reputation as being one of the most beloved pranksters of the area.
Oh, okay.
Probably had nothing to do, but this is real.
Unrelated.
Damn it. Its nostrils spouted flame and smoke, and a horrible odor, which Shepard described as, quote, a combination of buzzard meat and skunk perfume, filled the air. But he clocked those notes.
Yeah,
in the fragrance. Do I detect skunk perfume and buzzard meat?
Buzzard meat.
Buzzard meat. Wisely, Shepard retreated in a hurry. Back in Rhinelander, he described his encounter to townspeople and lumberjacks. Clearly, Shepard had witnessed the monster that lumberjacks believed embodied the restless spirits of dead lumber oxen. He had seen a HODAG.
Whoa.
So this thing, this beast, this cryptid.
It sounds like it looks like a hairy alligator with horns.
So I have another description because Eugene Shepard would write about this,
Mm-hmm.
and here's how he described it. The head of a frog, the grinning face of a giant...
Dan Aykroyd again?
Always.
Yeah.
The grinning face of a giant elephant. It's puzzling already. It had the head of a frog, but the face of an elephant?
How?
You know the face is part of the head, right, Eugene?
Right.
Thick, short legs set off by huge claws.
Same.
The back of a dinosaur. And a long tail with spears at the end. He led hunting parties who carried heavy rifles and, quote, bore squirt guns loaded with poison water.
Poison water?
This is
What the hell must that have been?
Feels incredibly ineffective.
Yeah.
I didn't know they had squirt guns in the 1890s.
Yeah, I guess I didn't either. I wouldn't have guessed that.
Get your squirt guns and follow me.
Yeah.
Squirting. And what's poison water?
I can't imagine.
Poison diluted with what kind of poison?
No.
Hey, guys, what are you talking about?
Right. That's all gobbledygook.
You're confusing
From the
me.
description to the pursuit.
Are you trying to dazzle and disorient me, Eugene?
Like a confidence man?
Absolutely. So they also brought hunting dogs to try to get the HODAG, but, quote, the HODAG scattered about the place small fragments of the hunting dogs.
Oh, yikes. Tough episode for dogs.
Bad episode for dogs. Don't let your dog have already listened to this or watched it. This is a puzzler for me because I'm like, did he lead a hunting party where he like charged people like, we're gonna hunt the HODAG?
Yeah.
And then killed all their dogs. It was like,
Yeah.
oh, I guess the HODAG got us first.
Did that really happen?
Or were all the hunting parties part of the lie? I hope.
I certainly hope so.
I don't trust late 1800s people.
No.
If a time travel ever shows up from the late 1800s, don't believe a goddamn word they say. Keep him away from your dog.
Mm-hmm.
So there's been a lot of attention on this, all right? He's drawn like a picture of the HODAG and he's putting it in the newspaper and stuff. There's a whole spectacle and people are loving it. But they're like, you keep hunting the HODAG, we've got to see one.
Yeah.
We got to see a living HODAG. He eventually led one where, I think it's this picture, I've got it behind us on the set, where you can see this like animal thing. It looks really cool.
Yeah.
But like all these hunters are crowded around this little, it's like about the size of maybe like a bulldog.
Yeah, it looks like it kind of looks like one of the monsters from Where the Wild Things Are.
Yeah, a little bit, like a teeny one.
Uh-huh.
Now, mind you, he said that it was like 6 foot and like hundreds of pounds. And it's like,
what the hell is this?
Is this a baby HODAG? I don't know. So, he said that one of the only things that could hurt it was dynamite. So they like blew it up so they didn't have proof. But finally in 1896, he was able to produce a live one.
Oh.
How did he do it? How did he manage to best the beast and bring him back alive? Hunters put chloroform rags on a stick.
Oh, God.
And stuck it into the HODAG's cave.
Oh.
To knock him out.
Uh-huh.
Then they charged people to see it, and man, people loved what they saw. What they did was they built a little replica cave environment. Very dark in there. Hard to see.
Oh, my God.
But
so
they
ridiculous.
had to do it. They had to in order, quote, in order that the animal would not discover the deception being practiced upon him.
Of course.
He thought this was his real cave.
Yeah.
And they would
Otherwise,
charge...
he's going to flip.
He's going to flip out.
Get murderous.
Absolutely. So, this guy would charge people. They'd hand him a wheel of cheese or whatever they did in Wisconsin in the 1890s. They'd be shuffled into this makeshift man-made cave in the dark. where they would see sort of something in the corner, maybe moving a little bit, and then hear a growl, and would very quickly be ushered back out again. You can't stay too long with the HODAG.
It's a nice
bad
little
for
gig.
you. It's a good gig. People loved it.
So was there somebody in the cave growling?
Sort of. They fashioned themselves a HODAG.
Yeah.
Carved from a stump, covered in ox hide.
That's what this is?
I'm guessing that the photo
Okay.
behind us is similar.
Mm-hmm.
Covered in ox hide with antlers stuck to it. Somebody would be in there, moving it a little bit with wires.
Yeah.
And then one of Eugene Shepard's sons would go, and that was the HODAG.
It's a nice little family business.
Once that hoax was revealed, people were so excited to travel from all over to see it because it had been such a successful hoax.
Oh, okay.
Now it stopped being he's got a HODAG. It
Yeah.
started being come visit the spectacle of the hoax that so many people bought and believed and loved.
That's awesome.
So it kept going and people kept on loving it.
That's amazing.
And it's so much more than a hoax, evidently. Now, I mentioned that they described Eugene Shepard as something of a famous prankster.
Right.
It is unclear to me what else he did to win that reputation.
Yeah.
I don't know if he was constantly, like, putting little whoopee cushions on people's chairs, put a little fart bag there and see what happens.
Yeah.
I don't know. But clearly this put his name on the map in a big, bad way.
I guess he finally struck one big.
But not just for some superfluous money-making scheme, because it was eventually credited as something that put this town, Rhinelander, on the map and brought people from all around to visit the place, thereby building the community.
That's delightful. I love that.
So Eugene Spencer
Yeah.
did sort of, evidently, make Rhinelander, Wisconsin, a sort of prosperous place through, lying and deceit and scamming, but also folklore and mystery and intrigue and
Yeah.
horror and showmanship and storytelling.
That's so
and
fun.
urban legends and
He's
the
like
cryptid.
a little mini P.T. Barnum.
Yeah, a little bit. And
Yeah.
and certainly it seems, and I haven't read everything about this guy, but it seems that history is smiling upon him because
Nice.
from what I read, it's like he's the grandfather of this community.
Yeah.
And so there are HODAG statues all over this place, evidently.
That's such a fun story.
I really kind of love that. There's something that's very charming
Yes.
about a monster story, like embettering a community and
yeah.
and birthing it or
Absolutely.
something.
That's so fun.
The HODAG has lived on. It is known as a cryptid, and it's shown up in shows. It was on one of the Scooby-Doo spin-offs.
Mhm.
It's evidently part of the wizarding world
Okay.
now too. It was not in. There's
Like
all this
Fantastic Beasts or whatever.
yeah. It's part of like that. I think it's part of that encyclopedia. Fantastic Beasts was a textbook
Yeah.
before it was the movies. I think it's part of the textbook.
Uh-huh.
But all of the extended lore stuff, I think it said somewhere that Hagrid had a HODAG.
Oh,
That's
okay.
what they say.
Yeah.
Hagrid had a Actually, it's not hard to say. It's fun to say.
Yeah. Hagrid had a HODAG.
Hagrid had a HODAG, and had to give it up or something. You know Hagrid.
He always has to give him up.
He sure does. But so that's the story of the HODAG.
Fun. I like that story.
So how about that? We got a little haunting,
Yeah.
a little UFO, a little cryptid, a little urban legend.
Really took care of business.
Robust. Wisconsin is,
Yeah.
is a hotbed.
Hello, Wisconsin.
Yeah, how about that?
Yeah.
Not too shabby.
Awesome.
Of course, I should also point out that Wisconsin, specifically Plainfield, was the home to Ed Gein,
Important.
whose horrifically
out.
vicious and sickening actions
Yes.
revolted the world while simultaneously inspiring the invention of Norman Bates and Hannibal Lecter.
Certainly.
And there was that Slender Man stabbing. That was
Oh,
Wisconsin.
Right.
But there was also the Dustin Diamond stabbing in the bar that one time. That also happened in Wisconsin.
Yeah. Like that's a redeeming quality.
The sun also shines.
It's always darkest for the dawn.
Of course.
And things like this.
Of course.
Yeah.
Well, there you go, everybody. Wisconsin.
Yeah. We hope you enjoyed that trip to Wisconsin. Thank you so much for listening. As we said before, if you'd like to help support the show and get a bunch of really fun bonuses in return, you can go to patreon.com/GTTUpod, and we hope to see you over there.
It's a very good time. And there's, at this point, so much that you can watch us react to shows that we've watched, movie reviews, full-on commentary tracks for not only all of the Scream movies, but all of the Twilight movies.
Yep.
That's all done. It's up there,
Certainly.
and it's literally just waiting for you. And you can, of course, get access to our Discord through the Patreon, so you can join an entire secret society in the process.
Yeah.
See beneath the world the rest of these sheeple are forced to mosey about.
That's right. Get green pilled.
Yeah.
Because our logo is green and everything. Yeah.
I like that. Get green pilled, everybody.
Thank you.
And also follow us online at GTTUpod on all social media.
You can also follow at Chillin' Kristen.
Or at The Myth Traveler. Thank you all so much for hanging out with us. We hope that you had a good time.
Yeah.
Maybe learned something that you didn't know before, or we've got a lot of viewers from Wisconsin, we should say.
Yeah.
Maybe some of these are stories that are partial to you. Maybe you visited these places or had your own experiences, or there's something that we did not touch on in this episode. Feel free to reach out, gttupod@gmail.com. So we'll see you next week, everybody, for another spooky, fascinating, enlightening, educational episode.
Sure.
But until that time comes, we must travel.
Back to the netherworld go we. Educational.
This is the underrepresented side.
Important work.
We could make something out of this.
Yeah.